Natural, unexplained, spiritual activity, cryptids, the future and the past, conspiracies, belief in ancient remains. The radio program for you, the listener, and bringing your stories and concerns to the table. And now your host, Dave Cruz.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the special Friday the 13th edition of Beyond the Strange. I'm your host, Dave Cruz, and we are just hanging out tonight, and we're going to talk about anything that comes to mind. And I am joined by Allison Bell and our good friend Les. And I did see Lynn there for a second, but she's out of the room, so she might come back. How you guys doing this evening?
I'm good, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm good, too.
I'm glad to hear it, considering all the strife that's going on in the world tonight.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
I don't know if I call it amazing, but I call it sick, sad, horrible, just more innocent people dying, and it kind of bothers me. And I'm really hoping that our government or people didn't know about this and just didn't say anything about it and let innocent people die.
Well, I say amazing only because it really shouldn't surprise me, actually. But the fact that all this stuff is happening in the world just goes to show that we are heading towards something much, much bigger than people actually think. And I'm sorry, but people are just not getting their heads out of their butts. And I know you guys agree because we were just talking about it.
Yep.
Well, in the way of bigger, much bigger, can you explain that a bit? In what way much bigger?
Just everything that's going on. I mean, tonight I actually wanted to talk about portals, and then all of a sudden this happened with France. And when you want to talk conspiracy, look what's happening. I mean, they actually shut down the borders of France, not just around Paris or any of the other cities that this is happening in. They shut down France. I've never heard of that before. Not even with 9/11 did they do anything like that.
They didn't shut down the whole state. Yeah, I understand that.
France is a damn country.
Well, they shut down the borders of the United States. That is after they got out, the royalty of Saudi Arabia, etc. In truth, England, Europe. During our 9/11, most of their opinions were of, well, we had World War II. And you know, they have a much longer history to look back upon than we do, in truth.
Yes, they do. Do you think that what we saw in France and what happened in Syria yesterday and what happened out on the West Coast and then in Florida are all connected somehow?
I do. I mean,
How? I
can I
mean,
explain it?
please.
Maybe not. I mean, I'd like to be able to explain it, but what I know is it's just one thing right after another, you know. And
Yeah,
I
but
wouldn't even be surprised if CERN was involved also.
so you have a gut level feeling that they should be connected. Do you have anything that even a sniggling of an idea that you could actually speak about?
Well, in terms of the portals, we were talking earlier about this. You know, we were just kind of messaging back and forth, but you know, going back to 2009, there's a video I put out there. I actually put it out on both on Twitter and Facebook. That there is almost, I want to say exact looking, an exact, you know, way it looked. There was a light in the sky. It looked like a spiral, but it was also emanating blue light, and it looked just like what we saw earlier last week off of San Diego, where it looked pretty much like a giant flashlight in the sky emanating blue light. Now, from the angle that we see the videos, we don't see a spiral, but who's to say there isn't a spiral?
That's true too.
You know, and I saw that. It just caught me off guard because I was doing something else, and when I saw that video of 2009 above Norway, automatically it just said that's it right there. That's what happened last week.
Do
It's a
you
gut feeling.
do you think it could be a testing of an exotic energy weapon?
You
Granted,
know,
one that would have the ability to tear a hole in the space-time continuum and open a portal, but an energy also what could be considered an energy weapon nonetheless.
Alice and I don't know enough about that, honestly. What I know is, again, you know, my gut feeling says that this is something that is not what they're telling us. That this is not just a test rocket, a test launch that they did. And again, we have other things that are happening really close to this. I mean, it was just last week we had that
Yep.
sighting, you know. And then
Yep.
also one of our friends, Rick, um, he videotaped something else. It looked like a bunch of lights in the sky, something similar to what I saw back in May. And you know, I chalked it up as Chinese lanterns, but there was never anything to say that it was or wasn't. Um, you know, he's got some pretty good pics. He's got some good video. This is, you know, again, right after. I think this was actually Monday night, the second night, or the second night where they said they saw another sighting of a missile launch.
Well, they did say that they were going to do another test the next day, but they did it during the daytime, if I'm correct in remembering what I
It was
read.
during the day. Yeah, it was during the daytime, so it's not going to look like it did on Saturday.
Mhm. Well, what I'm trying to get at, and what I'd love to hear your thoughts on, with my first question was, okay, so we have all of the sightings and the missile tests, then we have all of this unrest going on in Syria, then we have a terrorist attack in France, and I want to know if you think, just in your creative imagination, I understand you probably don't have anything to support this, but out of your gut and from what you could piece together, is there a thread that runs through all of it?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I can't
And,
say for a fact, but I think it is.
okay, and what would the number one purpose of something like that be? I mean, if this was all connected, what would it be going to? What are they trying to do? Are they setting us up for something? Granted, whatever they have said about what the missile tests are and whatever they've called them in the past, nobody believes that except for the people that, are kind of asleep. So, granted, we all understand that nobody's telling anybody the truth about anything. So,
Not all of us.
well, us that are listening, that are talking, we who dig into this all the time know better. And the point I'm making is that we have two things we can look at here. Either we are all being led to a conclusion by our little noses because they know how we think, and the rest of the people, they're just utilizing this as a fear factor, or there is truly an interesting series of events going on here in the last 2 weeks. And I was just wondering if, when you were thinking about it, what on earth, in your wildest imagination, do you think it could be? And speculate on that. Just speculate. You don't have to have facts behind it, but what's your speculation?
What's your gut feeling?
My gut feeling is there's something coming. And I said that earlier, and I can't just, say, blah, this is what's happening. But when something like this starts, especially you see something that you can't explain, and then they try to say, oh, it's just this, and then you get what happened yesterday in Syria. Well, we already know Syria has been like this for a while now.
It's been a hotbed and a playground between the U.S., Russia, and China.
And and that's something else we need to look at, because those three superpowers right there have always been,
at each other's necks.
Exactly,
Is this posturing?
It's possible. I mean, Les, you and I were even talking about how the Russian bombers were getting so darn close to us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just in the past year, I've seen multiple things on the news. Now, I don't know what some of it's been mainstream, of course, but where Putin has sent his bombers right up to the our internet, where we consider our national airspace, right up next to it, and then turns them around.
Well, they've been playing good cop, bad cop for the longest time now. So, over the Syria thing, and it's posturing. And one theory about the lights the other night was that was a message to somebody to say, look, you want me to roar? Here it is. So back off. But looking at that with everything else as the larger picture. Who's to say that they aren't currently, this isn't the beginning of the false flag that we've been hearing about forever, that they are setting up world conditions to lead all of us down the merry path so that we look at the oh my gods exactly the way they want us to, with no explanation for anything, and we are so ready for an answer when it finally happens and everybody jumps on that bandwagon. And I am totally suspicious of that more than I am any earth-changing, earth-shattering thing. I think that this is all another damn game to get us all to buy into something, to agree to something that in our right minds we would never in a million years say yes to.
To get us built up to live off, our loosh, or get us worked up, get us willing to, do something, or get the masses willing to do something they would normally never ever buy into.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the most logical scenario in all of this craziness that's going on, because they've done it in the past. You know how they've done it in the past, And this is this wonderful triangular thing, create a problem, offer a solution, and everybody says yes, but gives up what little more freedom that they have left to give up. It's taking us by our nose and leading us down the garden path. I, I, I don't know how to put this into words strongly enough. I'm almost positive that that is what the game is, as Holmes would say. Watson, the game's afoot.
Allison, and I've heard this, and I think we were talking about this, you and I and Steph were talking, or Holographic were talking about this yesterday, Dave. Do they truly, plan? Does the cabal, does the people, the Illuminati, whatever, hashtag whatever,
Right.
Do they have these plans, and do they have all this, crap planned hundreds of years in advance, 50 years in advance?
Yeah, I think they do. I most definitely think they do. There's an awful lot of circumstantial evidence out there to support that, and I wouldn't put it past them at all. Not after what I know about 9/11, not after what I know about Roswell, not after I know about Montauk and about my labs and about it has all, the whole thing, since the 1920s, dudes. This has been happening to us, and this is just one more freaking step in the story that they're utilizing to bend the people's viewpoint on things to their advantage. And you know me, I'm always
Ranting?
I'm always ranting. Yeah, thank that word. My phone has invaded my mouth. I'm always ranting about needing to step out of the quantum box. Well, honey, it may not be the quantum box, but it's somebody's box. And right at the moment, I think we're all pretty much ensconced in it. And I'm hoping that their plans backfire on them and a whole bunch of us wake up because of it. And then things start to change.
Funny, Allison, I was just about to say this, and a lot of people don't realize it, I think, is just as there is no spoon, really, there is no box.
I know.
But they're trying to keep us in it.
Right. We have agreed to be where we are. And they've got us so beautifully conditioned to do it, to stay in that little box. And
oh God, it is so hard to not be. It really is, because we're all programmed to be like that.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are. And I mean, and if you go ahead.
No, I just quickly wanted to touch on what you guys are talking about, the programming, because I'm really big about chemtrails, believing that there are chemtrails, and nobody wants to look up. I can go on about what I really think, but what I want to say is the programming, the conditioning. They've already made us believe that it's natural. That this is something that always happens, and it's normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's exactly what it is. You hit it right on the head.
Yeah, I really believe that they're trying to desensitize us, and it's sickening, like what Les said earlier. This whole thing is just what they're getting away with it. That's what kills me. Holographic and I talk about it a lot, about what they're doing, and the people that try to come out, the whistleblowers, the true whistleblowers like Edward Snowden. I mean, it's I don't know. I can't even grasp right now what's going on. After this, after today, after yesterday, after Saturday, more than ever, we all need to look up. We all need to be alert. And welcome, Adam, by the way.
Thank you.
It's Adam T. that's hanging out with us tonight with me, Les, and Allison. This is a special edition of Beyond the Strange, Friday the 13th, as a matter of fact. And it seems to be exactly that. Horrible, horrible day right now that's going on in our world.
Hey, Adam, your mic is working fine. I'd love to hear your take on what we've just been prattling on about here.
I missed a few bits and pieces of what you guys said because I was arguing with software to get Hangouts to work. Now I think I might actually need a drink. Somebody say Gobleteke.
Gobekli Tepe.
Can't even talk, see? Actually, I think I'm in agreement with you guys about the level of fear and panic that it's trying to continue to perpetuate and actually increase. And I think it's one of those things where I believe that it's designed to keep us in that constant state of panic where we're living by all of our survival instincts, so we're just surviving and nobody's thriving. And when we're in that state, we lose a level of discernment that we're capable of that allows us to see through the BS. So, yeah, I think it's a huge snow job.
Absolutely.
Excellent point. Excellent point. And it is about discernment.
Well, completely. When you're living in your lower emotions, I mean, that's all fear-based stuff. So you start to cut yourself off from your connection to, the environment around you. And when we become unaware of our environment, we're endangered. We're not capable of making even instinctually informed decisions because all we're getting is the radio static of, oh, hell, it's all falling apart. Oh, hell, we're going to die.
Our baser instincts, our animal instincts are saying that, yeah.
Yeah, because it starts to override your ability to, engage your common sense and to engage your discernment. And I think that's a big part of what's always going on, really. You look at our entertainment and how that's so very controlled, more especially here in the West, and how everything is really aimed at us to be a distraction. We're always seeing blitz and bling that are substanceless BS to distract us from the reality of what's actually taking place.
What gets me is how free they say we are when compared to a lot of the media in the rest of the world and a lot of the things in the rest of the world. We really aren't.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think we're... I think we've been so conditioned to not see the prison that we're in that we just gladly cooperate.
Exactly.
Yes, please put the chain around my neck. I don't mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, think about it. I mean, I'm of an age where I grew up in the 70s, and I remember, I remember bits and pieces like we all do about growing up in the 70s, the things that we see on the news, the bits and pieces of stuff. And so seeing this now, and it's tragic, and it's horrific, and the senseless and needless loss of life is heartbreaking, but it's not new. And even if you just look at news clips or newspapers from the last 2 or 3 decades, you can actually see that times like this in our history as human beings, when this is going on, the inability of people to maintain composure and function becomes so heightened. And we can see the evidence of it.
I think a big point, too, is that with the current level of technology, we're able to see it much faster, and we're able to see stuff that we never could before. So it looks new, but it really isn't.
And you made the point I wanted to make, but what I wanted to say was we don't actually have to be in a World War III like a World War II, because technology and the internet brings us all over the world, and they can produce as much confusion on the internet as, and even more so than what was going on in World War II,
Oh,
simply because
absolutely.
of the information. Yeah.
You know, Dave, I wanted to ask you this. You know what gets me is, and I was talking to Rita about this a little while ago. What gets me is we have the current level of technology. I mean, they spend half our freaking budget on the military. If we could simply, use our resources like the NSA, the CIA. I mean, the reasons we had to give up our freedoms, the reason they have all this info, they can read our email, they can read our internet, our Facebook, our telephone conversations, our texts, our tweets. If we all just got together, we can literally knock out ISIS in a day. If we got together with these other countries and decided just to do it as a world, as one people. If we wanted to stop it, we could. But it's like they want to play this freaking game, and it's all about. It makes me think: is it really all about the money, or is it this game that we're talking about? What do you think, Dave?
It's not about the money. It's there. Money is nothing. It's about power. That's what
I
it's all
agree.
about.
See, I can't understand how money can be a factor anyway. They already have all of it.
Yeah,
That's right.
well,
So
but they
I
use
mean,
money as an illusion to
Yes,
power.
they do.
well, yeah, they completely use money, but there again, the money equates to power because let's face it, we're living in a planet where we're so invested in the false system of money and banking and monetary this and material that of course it's the perfect weapon to use against it because there is no greater weapon to use a parent with hungry kids than you can't afford to feed them.
Money and the stock market and all that other is
Hmm.
the world's largest Ponzi scheme.
For real.
They call it the Babylonian money magic slavery system.
And another thing is I agree with you about it doesn't have to be like the Second World War was. Because the vast majority of our combat technology is so incredibly immobile that if you really look at the bigger picture, that war's been going on for a long time already, and we're just seeing hot spots.
It's very true. Google this. There is a list on the net of all the military involvement the United States has had since its inception. We have never not some sort of war, military, Googleable.
Allison, something's going on with your mic again. It's cutting
Yeah,
in
I
and
do.
out.
Sorry. Okay. Hear me now?
No.
No.
If you're talking, Allison, sweetheart, we can't hear you.
No, her mic's muted.
Yeah, she muted herself.
Okay, I actually got Nancy calling in right now. This is Beyond Strange. Dave Cruz.
Hi, Dave. How are you? It's Nancy.
Hey, Nancy. How's it going?
Well, it's kind of unsettling. I was busy all day with my head and my work, and I just got home from Walmart. Exciting, I know. And I heard about France, and so I was just kind of trying to find out what was going on.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing. We're all discussing it right now. Just the way everything's been going since last Saturday, about with the whole quote missile test unquote, light in the sky sighting. It just seems like things have just been going downhill. I mean, Les brought up, what's happening in Syria with all the beheadings of children. Then today you have, France, who's, basically on lockdown, the whole country. What's really going on,
Well, you kind of got to look at it, I guess. The energies, have shifted, and you're going to have the more accessible or more accentuated negative energies. There's going to be more opportunities for that to occur, from what my understanding is.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess basically what I've been told is to don't allow that to get you upset. Don't allow that to deter from you keeping your positive energy up, because the world needs your positive energy. And if you get down in the dumps and angry and mad, and that kind of unbalances and tips the side of the negativity, they need, positiveness. Not saying ignore it. I'm not saying, don't feel bad about it. But you have to just say, okay, I hear you, I see you, and now I'm just going to turn it around, and this is going to cause me to be even more positive, because that's how you fight. That's how you balance things out in the world. You remember you're connected. So to me, that's kind of how you can have some weird stuff kind of happening. I mean, seriously, some weird stuff is just going to happen, and it's just going to blow everybody's mind. Like, oh my God, seriously? We're human beings, and this is going on.
Right, and it just seems like all of a sudden, it just, well, the thing is, the stuff that's been happening in Syria has been going on for a while.
It's all been ramping up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been ramping up, and then actually we did have, earlier this year. Was it earlier this year with the Charlie Hebdo situation in France?
Right.
And
right.
And then I also saw something in the UK, in Britain, where, and I have nothing again. I'm not profiling anything, but is the Islamic Brotherhood that's there are they're trying to like intimidate, and they're beating down people. I'm not sure if they've killed anyone or not, but they're beating people just because they're not following their religion. Their ideas and everything. Of course, we saw that with Christianity way back, during the Crusades and stuff. But it all seems to just be happening right now. Right now, if that makes any sense.
It is happening right now. It's been ramping up, and it's been a slow burn. And it's all of a sudden, oh my gosh, half the Middle East is in Europe now.
Yeah. There you go.
And you're like, how did that happen? Where did that happen? And that was because it was manipulated. It's manipulated. It's all part of someone's master plan. And what you need to do, just kind of go, well, okay, you go ahead, do what you feel you have to do. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to fight for positiveness. And, in the end, and I don't mean this, in the end, what does it mean? In the end, it means, where do you go when you die? I mean, to me, that's what the end is, as far as this life goes. I know where I'm going, so I'm not really worried about what's going to happen between now and then. I'm just going to be the best person I can be between then. I'm going to. That's basically how you have to, put it down. You can't. There's no way you can process all that stuff. Just no way. It's too much.
It is.
And still be able to enjoy what you have in front of you at the moment you have it in front of you. You just have to go, I pray for you, and I'm going to hand this burden over. I'm going to give it to my higher power, and I'm going to be the person that my higher power wants me to be, and be of love, and be of light, and be of joy, and just kind of just, I mean, that's how I do it. And I just, I had a really messed up week. And
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
no, and so it just, it's today. Today was a turning point. Today was a turning point. It was like, oh my God, yay, relief! I finally was able to turn that around. I mean, it took me like 4 days to do it. So you just gotta enjoy what you have in front of me, and it could be because it's Friday, though, but it's just enjoy the day and enjoy being who you are in the moment. Send prayers, send love, send healing, send light, send energy that hopes that there'll be clearer heads, and just continue being positive.
Guys, you're actually here with Allison, Les, and Adam in the Hangouts. Hopefully they can hear you. Guys, can you hear Nancy at all?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear, but
Oh.
I went over to Spreaker, and she is not coming across Spreaker at all.
That is
Spreaker
unfortunate.
on?
Spreaker is on. Unfortunately, I believe that
It's not broadcasting.
it should be broadcasting.
No,
It's
it
not
goes in and out.
Yeah, it's been going in and out. That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll have to work on that. But we currently
That's
are
why
on.
it's a test.
It's a test. But we are live on YouTube, so that's cool. The link is out there if anybody wants to listen to the show. That's a really good point, Nancy. It's exactly what they want to do. They want to frazzle us. They want to they want to throw this negativity our way. They want us to just throw our hands up in the air and say, "Holy crap, what are we going to do?" And the best thing to do is to not let them do that to us.
No, you have to. It's like, okay, it's above you. There is nothing. The only thing that you can do is be the best person you can be. Be the most positive person you can be. Be the most selfless person. Go out and, I mean, it was like, okay, this is what happened today, all right? Today I felt really shitty. I didn't go to work yesterday, okay, because I played hooky. And so I
Couldn't have said that over the live air, Nancy.
Pardon?
Couldn't have said that on live air,
Oh, well, they're not listening.
Oops.
Yeah, probably not.
Language.
Actually,
But anyway, so it's really, really bad. So what did I do? I went to get some coffee, and I saw this homeless person. So I went, okay, I feel really bad, so I'm just going to buy this homeless person some breakfast. So I bought him breakfast, and the look on his face when I handed him this huge cup of coffee, and it was just like, oh, wow, that's what being simple means. Oh, that's what being grateful means. Oh, okay. I mean, it was just, you just go out and do stuff like that, and changes your mood, changes who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, they're go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I'm very thankful that my aunt was actually across the street and not where the bomb blew up, and that my cousin was, a couple blocks away. So that my family's safe. Unfortunately, some people did die, but you have to look at the positive as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like there's much positive out there, but that's where we come in. We have to make it positive.
Right.
That's why I do what I do, because there has to be a voice somewhere, and I think if there's more of if there's more of a voice, more people are going to get the word. As long as we put it out there, they're going to hear it, because nobody's going to hear anything if the mouths are closed.
Yep.
So, That's my 2 cents. But um, I was I wanted to really talk about the portals until the thing with France started happening, and then Les mentioned the beheadings in Syria yesterday. I'm looking at something that I just got tagged in. Um, Apparently, 10,000 Syrian refugees have just arrived in New Orleans, being resettled into
Yeah,
180
Obama opened up America to 10,000 refugees. Yeah, that was a couple. He said he was going to do that a couple of months ago, actually.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no,
believe I believe there were some old military bases that were being refurbished a couple of months ago. I vaguely remember hearing one podcast where they thought that they were getting a FEMA camp together there. So I don't know, those FEMA camps aren't for us now.
hopefully not. But hey,
So
who's
Dave,
to
I
say
know.
they're not testing them on them first before they test them on us? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Les.
Dave, I know you put a bunch of those reports together on the portals. Why don't we go ahead and move to that and just let's leave the negativity behind and go to something positive.
Well,
There
it's
you
not
go.
not necessarily. I didn't put any reports. I just started, looking into things more about that so-called test launch last week, and I don't believe it. I don't believe that's what it was. And like Allison was saying, they did another test Monday during the day. Who's going to see? You can't see the similarities during the day since it was at night.
There were reports of tests going on in Florida or something that looked like the same type of tests last week. There were reports of the same type of lights in Florida. So, yeah, I think this is all very interesting. And I'm wondering, and the other interesting thing about it is all of the gentlemen that we'd normally be going to try and figure out what's going on higher in the sky are dead quiet right now. Nobody has said a thing for weeks, and I'm there are like 3, 4, 5 of them out there I check into, and nobody has said jack about this. Not one little tiny oop. So
Why do
that's
you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's very interesting. Um, Either that or they're all aware of the fact that this is the government pulling a game. I, you know, there are, I have this round file, the information all floats in there, and we wait to see if it connects. And when I get 2 or 3 pieces together that just kind of go click, 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 then I've got something that I can go after and look at. And until that point, all I can do is speculate because I don't have enough information to discern anything from it. So, in a way, this is speculation. Granted, we probably have somewhere in us where we know what that information is, if we could just kind of dig it out and put it together. But me, the way I am right now, I've got so much information floating around in there, and I'm not sure how to put all the dots together so I could say, well, that is a high-powered exotic energy weapon, beam, portal opener, yada da yada da. But it's that's as good an idea as any other.
Sure, I totally agree with that. I mean, Nancy, what do you think? I mean, we've been hearing everyone. You kind of came in late in the conversation. What do you think that was on Saturday?
It may have been a different missile system. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, plasma-based, where it would flare out like that.
Mm-hmm. Like part of perhaps part of a weapon, or just something that happened on
A
accident?
weapon, I'm not sure. I'm thinking that they were just testing kind of a new, it was the same missile, but with a different kind of it was reconfigured or something so they can see if they could, be more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And that just kind of turned out that way. The other thing that I thought of, it was kind of cloudy that night. There was a lot of moisture in the air.
Mm-hmm.
So that could have been, just the rockets from the moisture in the air. I don't know. I'm not really into that kind of techie kind of.
Well,
Right.
plasma is a source of energy. Plasma is an energy. And the air, it's impossible for the air to glow from just a vapor, being only a vapor, after the source of light has left the vicinity. And that's what was so strange about this. This had a glow to it that went long past when it should have for a light source.
Right. That's why I was thinking some maybe this is something, that's a different energy or different configuration than it was before. And, but who knows?
It would have to be something that has its own energy source.
Well,
Right.
depending
That's what I was
upon,
thinking. It was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, depending upon what the propellant was, we know it's solid. If it was, they say it was a Titan missile. Depending upon if it used a brand new type of, if it was a weapon, what type of propellant it was using, and depending upon what is in the propellant would refract light in a particular color.
Right.
If it was a portal...
And go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm done.
No, I was just going to say, isn't plasma usually blue, or the only other blue that burns blue is methane. That burns blue. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the elements that burn blue.
Copper. Or copper is green.
Well, copper is more green, yeah.
Oxygen. Doesn't oxygen burn blue? We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, you can see which elements. I'm not sure. I know that when you discharge certain elements, like magnesium will be kind of like a orange, and hydrogen is, oxygen I think is more orange than white or yellow.
Interesting. Yeah, that's the blue color. The blue color is really interesting, and not only that, the blue color shows up on that 2009 video as well, and that's kind of an old. When you think about it, I mean, 6 years ago, technology, in the last 6 years, has been growing leaps and bounds. So this is something I wouldn't be surprised if we go back even further and find something that's similar that happened in the sky.
Actually, the color that burns blue, arsenic, cerium, and tantalum. Those are the three things that burn blue. Burn the color blue.
Okay. And that's okay. But what I'm trying to say is that this color has been the same color, not only from Saturday but from 6 years ago. And it's not just the color; it's the whole thing. And I haven't checked yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if CERN was doing something last week at the same time this happened.
Wasn't the light over the one over Norway? Correct me if I'm wrong. but from what I've understood was there is a HARP that is a couple of them up near there, and when you do HARP and you ionize the air, and you wouldn't, if you had a particular explosive, a very, mild one, wouldn't that kind of set off the ionization in the air and cause some kind of glow?
Yeah, I mean that's very possible. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. I wish I could say for sure. Do you know, Les, for sure?
Well, I found some more stuff. They say, for example, copper produces a blue flame, lithium and strontium red, calcium orange, sodium yellow, barium and barium green.
Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and just take a quick pause real quick, you guys. Why don't you guys just hang out, and we'll be right back right after this, so you guys don't go away.
Remember what Professor Snidely, myself, always says. It's not the size of your brain that counts. It's the weight. And remember, Beyonders, listen to Beyond the Strange. Sundays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Do you believe in UFOs? Time travel? How about ghosts or Bigfoot? Greetings to all you Beyonders out there. This is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange. I wanted to personally thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Beyond the Strange is not your typical podcast. We want to hear your stories and experiences. This is the radio program for you, the listener. We bring your stories and concerns to the table. Check us out live every Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, Beyonders believe. Oops, that was a faux pas, everyone. Welcome back. This is Beyond the Strange, Friday 13th special edition. We're talking about the current events and everything that's going on, in relation to it. Gosh, that was horrible. Thanks for joining us. So, hey, Adam, you got a good point there, and that's something that I don't know if anyone's really paying attention to. You want to talk on that?
Yeah, I guess. I was just saying that I'd be interested to see if there's any connection between when these supposed tests are taking place, and if they're either preceded or followed by some kind of outbreak of mass violence. I'm curious about that because, we're talking about portals and high energy weapons, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, when portals occur, they have a tendency to tweak the quantum vibrations in the local area where they happen. So if you're using a high energy weapon to perhaps open a portal, or if you're even maybe just trying to send a weapon through a portal, aren't you going to affect the harmonics of the area? I mean, we're very susceptible to the subtleties of sound. Science
And
has proven a
vibration,
lot about that.
harmonics,
Yeah,
frequency.
yeah, frequency. Exactly. I mean, because if everything in our reality vibrates to a specific quantum frequency, and if you're messing around with that frequency, aren't you messing around with the natural frequency that it's supposed to have?
Has the
That's
government actually cut into it? I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
no. You finish what you're saying. It's
No,
fine.
I was going to say if the government already knows how to hack into our brains using frequency, yeah, of course, any
Right.
type of quantum frequency would affect us on levels that we have no idea. That we
Exactly.
don't.
I would consider it somewhat like being exposed to sonic radiation.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's probably not such a thing, but but I think that's kind of the only way I can think to equate it is like, you're being exposed to these continuous, maybe low dosages of some kind of, sonic vibration, which is, equates to kind of being exposed to low doses of radiation constantly. And so when they do something like this, maybe it just jacks that factor way up. And
Yeah,
then you get,
and that would make me wonder, Adam, if if that does some type of frequency damage, if you're on a lower frequency or a lower vibration and not on a higher vibrational level, what kind of permanent or not or even temporary damage does that do to you?
It seems to me that we've already proven that sonics is a useful weapon. It's supposedly a peaceful tactic, but we've seen where sound can induce psychotic behavior in individuals that otherwise are normally, with it. So I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that such a disturbance could cause, mass craziness to people that are vibrating on a lower frequency where they're more susceptible to having their internal communication network disrupted, so that their thoughts become chaotic.
A half a world away?
Who knows? We don't know how it works.
Well, that's true too. And maybe they bounced it off the ionosphere and used the Schumann resonance as a carrier wave.
Well, who says that
Or
fracking
maybe,
isn't causing damage to the ley line system and it's ending up in some weird way in a different part of the world?
yeah. Also, I just had a really weird mental picture flash in my head, and it was that, how when you drop a stone into clear water, if the water is still, you see those ripples, and perhaps it's not even the effect of the ground zero spot. Perhaps that creates a null space, but the ripples still move outwards. So, maybe that could be something that's happening as well. I mean, our planet, our world is very interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have all these things going on where there's fracking, there's chemtrails, there's this, and then there's HARP. So you figure they're not affecting just certain spots. They're actually affecting certain spots in a highly interconnected system, which is going to be like any other complex system, and it's going to have a domino effect.
That's very
So
true.
they're
That gives me
affecting the
something to do.
entire system in different manners. So they're, that would be the manipulation.
Excellent thought. Excellent.
Very excellent. Nancy, You said you had a horrible week. Is that because you felt something affecting your mood? I mean, or whatever it is that you feel when because you're sensitive, to things.
I think so. It it didn't make logical sense to me to be that upset, and that disjointed, and not being able to center, and not being able to connect. I was just totally thrown into, my ego, and I'm like, I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because sometimes when I get agitated like that, there's either like an earthquake or something occurs in my life, and this is just the build up to it, or the energy, the foretelling of something changing. It just was really like, it was like all of a sudden around, I would say like 7 this morning. I don't know what happened at 7 this morning, but at 7 this morning it was just like, okay, it's gone. It's over with, it's gone, you can move on. So it was just kind of weird. It just, I do that like right before I get sick. I'll get really agitated and irritated and totally disjointed. I've just been under a lot of stress lately, so it's just been, when the energies go weird, and I just looked at the moon tonight, and it's just this really sliver. It was just really beautiful, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going into a new moon. So, yeah.
May I ask, did you feel this week that you were hyper aware and at the same time disconnected?
Yes. I felt like I was that time was either slowed down, or there was no time, or it was sped up. It was just so totally disjointed. It was very bizarre.
You aren't the first person I've heard say that this week, that they feel disconnected.
I've heard that from a great many people too.
Or not grounded, or not feeling like they can ground.
It was, because I had a really, Wednesday I went and helped somebody move a couch, and I was like totally heck irritated, and I just didn't know why I was irritated, and I'm like, why can't I just enjoy the moment, and I could just not get into it, And this is like one of my best friends, and she's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. It just took everything to maintain, so I wouldn't like go off on somebody,
I hear you. No, I just several other people had said to me this week. It's funny, Nancy, that they felt totally disconnected, and they felt like they disjointed, and they could not actually ground. And I will use the word ground. They could not find a way to ground themselves.
Well, I've had too much input to ground. Talking about sensory overload, oh my gosh. I've been exhausted by like 8:30 every night, just because the amount has been horrendous. And I found myself connecting with people that I was thinking about, and I didn't even know I was connecting with them, and they were in distress, and I didn't know why I was feeling the way I was feeling. It was totally confusing, and I couldn't sort it because there was too much of it.
Right.
That
was the conversation I had with. Pardon?
Oh man, sorry. Go ahead. I'll speak after.
I'm sorry. It was
no, you're good.
I totally can relate to what Allison was saying, because it was like it was like everything that was wrong or everything that was irritating, it all lined up. And it was all like, okay, pay attention to me now. Pay attention to me now. If you don't, you're going to die, or you're going to have anxiety, or, this is the world's going to end if you don't deal with this and deal with that. And, and it was like the simplest things, too. And you're just sitting there going, why are you becoming so gigantic? Why can't you go back to the right size? Because
well, I just drink. That takes care of a lot of it.
Yeah, Jim Beam.
Yeah.
Seriously, one good beer at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and that seems to be when it's the heaviest for me and on the East Coast here, is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Things are at explosion stage, even if I've done nothing but sit at my table and write or research all day long. Not quite sure why that is, but it's a little freaky.
I can understand that though, because I work at home. I live in a really slow stress environment, and I had the last couple of weeks just for no reason, the smallest thing, and it would be like I'm nearly enraged, and I'm like, what is this? It was crazy, and I just could not shake it off, and I could not let it go, and I felt like frequently that even just here in my own home, where it's myself and a family member and the dog, that's usually so silent and peaceful, was jarring. It was like being at the grocery store around, 100 people or so. It was sort of horrible.
It was.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, so do I. And I think
I have a question. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to interject that I think we are judging the experience on how the sensory overload, or the overload of information is making us feel. And I don't think that is either negative or positive, but it depends on how we are responding to it as to whether we like it or don't like it. But it's not a negative or positive thing. It's just overload, and it's how we choose to handle it.
I know for myself.
Correct.
I agree. I spent a lot of time this week stopping in the middle of something I was doing and trying to catch my breath and trying to center myself. And even when I couldn't, I would just say it out loud. Nope, I'm letting it go. This is a small thing. This doesn't mean anything. And I would just try and push on. It was the only way that I could deal with it, because the flood of data was so intense that it was like having my teeth rattled in my skull a few
Yes.
times. And
It makes my teeth
set
hurt.
me on edge. Yeah, does it set you on edge to the point where your level of hyper awareness is almost physically painful?
Yeah, and exhausting. Yes, I have been in a lot of pain, and that's why I've been drinking a beer. I swear to God, it helps.
I think I'm going to start making a daily beer time. Thank you.
Beer 30, man, it really works. Let me tell you. Because otherwise, I am in so much pain, and I am so exhausted by the time 6, 7 o'clock rolls around that it's all I can do to just get up the stairs, and I want to crawl in bed so bad and just make it all go away, make it stop. And sleeping, of course, disconnects me from all of that input. So, but yeah, it has been immense, overwhelmingly immense.
It's really interesting the way it affects people in different. It affects. It seems to affect us all in different ways.
The question I have for you guys: what the information and the energies that we're getting, because we're so bothered and so dealing with the lower energies, what messages are we not getting because we're so preoccupied with the lower energies?
Is the lower energy actually blocking out what we're supposed to be getting from the higher?
No,
Yeah.
I kind of disagree. I think what's happening is that as the vibratory rate is picking up, it is difficult for the bodies that we live in to resonate at that rate, and therefore we're feeling stressed. It's we're feeling like we are stressed, and in a way we are, but that our bodies need catch-up time. They actually need that sleep. They need that restorative, whatever it is you can give them, and then the information can flow a little easier through the brain and the nervous system. I don't think the intellect or the spiritual part of us is having any problem at all, but it's the overload on the physical body. At where we're at right now, that is difficult. This is like doing sit-ups, like 50 sit-ups every morning. You know, till you get used to that, you hurt for a while, and I think that that's part of what's going on. And like I said, we're putting a spin on it depending on how we feel, how we're judging the experience, how we're feeling about it. I mean, if you're in pain, it's negative. You don't like it. It tends to make you a little snappish.
You know what?
What?
Allison, I think you're absolutely right, because you know when I feel like I've got that, I'm caught up, and I feel like I'm, you know, because when I'm finally caught up and I feel my body's caught up, I feel like I'm totally in the moment and I'm on target.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. And if you've probably all noticed that you've got a bad case of TMI with everybody. It's like you're picking up way more information than you're interested in and need to know, but it's coming in anyway. And you're just kind of...
That's daily for me for like 30 years. So
yeah, but I mean it's worse right now.
It is somewhat, and I agree that what we're having is a biological reaction to you know we're feeling the biological strain of such high-speed processing, and I sometimes wonder if when that's happening, one of the reasons that we're so completely open to other people's energies and information is that maybe it's because we just happen to be the ones in the closest approximation, or geographically close enough to act like a sub-processing station, because I frequently feel like I am processing things that people around me are not capable of processing. And it's like somehow I'm picking up the slack for them so that they can continue to move forward, because I'm already at a place where I'm past 90% of the stuff that I'm processing for them. I've gone past it. So I feel like I'm helping them carry their load.
And you're confused.
To be honest, sometimes it's confusing, but overall, most of the time, it makes me stop in my own life and take a deep breath, and I am suddenly always very grateful that I got to catch that glimpse of what was going on. And then if something I'm walking through helps them, I'm okay with that. I get frustrated with it for sure, because I'm a human being. But overall, even when there's a negative physiological reaction on an internal level where my emotions and my heart reside, I am never feeling bad about that process, because somehow, instinctually, I know that it's helping others that are in a place where they can't help themselves.
I totally agree, but I always have a sigh of relief when I can place it and understand what's going on. I was supposed to have a meeting. I was supposed to have a phone call meeting with someone to help them figure out TweetDeck. This is a person I don't talk to much, but I have corresponded with, and he was having dental work done prior to this, and we were going to meet at on the phone at 4:45, and I literally was in tears by the time I got home to where I could answer the phone. I was exhausted, I was slightly angry, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I was just like, I told my husband, take me out to eat, because obviously he's not going to call, and I need a drink, and I need one now. And as a matter of fact, I'd like to get drunk, but I didn't. When I got home from dinner, I had an email from him that said, I just got back from the dentist now. It was a totally stressful time. It was a lot of pain, and I'm like, I had hooked to him mentally, so I was receiving on my side what he was going through physically. I did not understand. I thought I was coming down. I was getting sick with something. I did not understand the input, so I was confused on top of everything else. When I put it in order and I went, oh, that was him. Boom, it was all gone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I experience that too when things fall into place, when the dots connect. I think there's a level of genuine comfort that comes from that.
Oh, yes.
Well,
Very
there seems
genuine.
to be a level of genuine comfort that we all feel, even just being around one another too.
That's true, and I have to say, I'm terribly introverted in my own life, and so being able to hang out with you guys and talk like this, I have to say, it's been very grounding and very healing today. I'm like practically vibrating with yeehaw.
Well, we're really glad you're here, Adam. Thanks again for coming
Oh,
into the
yeah.
chat room and talking with us.
And
And
you
thanks for
add,
having me.
Oh,
you add,
I have to say, Adam, I am totally with you on that one. I am terribly introverted as well, and I am finding this conversation totally fascinating.
I'm
It's
I
awesome.
was just gonna say, I think I'm usually terribly uncomfortable with people. It's one of the reasons I have such disdain for social media. And I am experiencing none of the discomfort I get even with a Facebook chat that makes me feel like I'm being put on the spot. So,
Shall
so
I
this has
sing
been
We Are
fantastic.
Family?
Absolutely, absolutely.
and you add a lot to your insights are wow. I love your insights. I love the way you look at stuff. Just
Thank you.
right on, brother. Right on.
Yeah, you're definitely one of us. It's all good.
Well, gentlemen and ladies, it's well past my bedtime. I love you all, and I am going to hang up from this call with good feelings and well wishes for you all this evening. And thank you for letting me chime in.
Higher vibrations, my love. You have a great night.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ellie.
Sleep well.
Thank
Good night,
you.
Allie.
Night, honey.
Have a good night.
Night.
It's like the Waltons saying goodnight.
Pretty much,
Kind of
man.
do that
It's
every
that.
night, don't we? Gosh.
Oh yeah, but this time we're actually doing it, like not through Twitter.
Yeah,
So this is
really.
pretty cool. But yeah, hey, I appreciate you guys all, participating, and things are gonna change. I know it, because we can't let this, our beautiful, wonderful planet, go down like this, man. It's horrible what's going on. And like Nancy says, as long as we stay grounded and we continue to just let ourselves at peace, let everything settle, let everything calm, and all of us get together. When we're all together, we can do stuff. And I'm probably not sounding like I'm making sense, but I really hope you guys understand what I'm saying.
Dave, actually, I was going to thank you for doing this show tonight, because before I was feeling like a total grump ass, and pardon my language. This week and what happened today kind of like is brought me a little down, and being here with all of you tonight, it has really lifted my spirits, and has made me started to look at things a little more positive. It always takes me talking to one of you to make me see things a little bit more positive. So thanks, Dave. I appreciate you doing the show tonight.
You're absolutely welcome, man. And again, I thank everyone for putting in their 2 cents, and just, man, their energy. I can sense it. We are all part of this family. And when we get together again, like I said, it's just there's no stopping us. Adam, thanks again for joining us. Nancy, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and end the show. I think this was a great night. I really appreciate everyone being here and just participating. Adam, you want to say something?
I was just going to say thank you very much. This has been a very enjoyable experience. I look forward to being able to join you guys again.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to say also that I don't believe that we're headed to the end. I know things always look very chaotic, and And when we're in a place where we're not able to see the bigger picture, I think to us, in our narrow view, it looks far more frightening than it really is. I have always believed, despite the prophecies from various religions that are out there and the predictions that so many seem to enjoy making about how our destruction is imminent, I would like to say that the future of our world and the future of our species, these are things that are not set in stone. They have not passed. And that when we come together and speak collectively with a single voice and with a single heart, we are the powerful. So I just want to leave everybody with that, and thank you very much. I enjoyed myself.
Thank you. And
Thanks,
Nancy,
Beth.
thanks for calling in and being part of the show. We really appreciate it, Nance. And I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Those who listened and participated, appreciate it. Again, we are live every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And just be safe, be strange. Thanks again. Guys, have a good night.